Hello, divine creations, divine marvels, children of God. Thanks for saying hi, Jason, and welcome to Jasmine, who's joining us by phone. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm just so filled with inspiration today. As I shared in another video, I had a huge breakthrough in my life simply through the practice of taking in this sacred, divine, living energy. And this energy changed me and healed me. And not only that, I got very clear guidance while doing the practice of receiving it on how to proceed in a situation that seemed like there was no solution. A complicated business interaction where there was arguing and possible deception, and this energy relieved me of the intense anger I felt. I felt very betrayed, and it relieved that. And what I realize now is that it didn't just relieve me of the present moment anger and frustration, that it was actually healing something from my past. And it gave me very clear guidance. So whatever brings you here today, whether it's the desire for spiritual growth, whether it's an illness or the desire for emotional peace or relationship trouble, this energy healed a relationship. For me, it healed a business relationship that seemed utterly hopeless. So whatever brings you here today, there is an energy, a power, a grace, just like the Force from Star Wars, that is accessible to all of us. You don't have to be a Jedi to access this Force. It's available to all. And it truly loves us and wants to help us and wants us to have a good life. And our part in this equation is saying yes to that goodness, to that happiness, and then taking that in. This is very simple to do. Please sit with your legs uncrossed, feet flat on the floor, hands on your legs, palms facing upwards. And then close your eyes and just have the intention to receive this energy. And notice what you feel. And we'll just sit for a few minutes in silence, taking in this goodness, taking in this energy, letting it heal us, letting it awaken us. Noticing what you feel. One of my favorite words is inspiration. And I don't know I'm not a linguist, but some of the linguistic roots of that word are respiration and spirit. The idea of literally being filled with the Spirit, and hence you are inspired. And so we can see that in the movement of a dancer, someone who's just, it's almost as if something else is moving them. Or a musician very passionately playing their music. It's almost like the musician has become the instrument and something is playing the musician, moving, animating. Now, this idea has been spoken about in different ways through different cultures and traditions. Personally, I think Taoism catches this very clearly. The Taoist idea is that there is a supreme energy, which is called the Tao, and that the purpose of life is to align ourselves with the Tao and literally be moved by it. This, of course, is talked about in Christianity as surrender to God. And Bruno Groening spoke of the actual, what this means on an actual energetic level. He spoke of first, if you open and receive the good and you separate yourself from what's not good, he said, then everything will be different, much nicer. And then life will really begin, meaning God will really begin to work in human beings. So, the path that Bruno Groening taught, which is so similar to ancient Taoist idea, is this idea of literally the divine moving in us, through us, spirit being inspired. But Bruno, in non-complicated languages, he really explained what the spiritual path is and what the opposite of the spiritual path is. Here's another quote of his. The more a human being has turned away from God, knowingly or unknowingly, the less life remains in his body, so that there was hardly enough life left in him so his organs could no longer react the way they were meant to. He could no longer walk through life with full strength. He got away from the source of power. In the end, he lost his connection to the great divine power source. He could no longer take in God's power into himself, and as such, his body became a wreck. So, according to Bruno, if a person turns away from God, they're not going to instantly die. It's not like their body, but their vitality, their inspiration, their, as they say in German, Gesundheit, which isn't just health, it's also vitality, wellness, robustness, begins to fade. And so the spiritual life, many definitions of the spiritual life are very much not about the body and are about what happens when you die, or about, not really about life. But according to Bruno Groening, it's actually the opposite. Spirituality is being filled with life, filled with divine energy, and guided by this energy. We've all had those moments where we said or did something that felt inspired. It's like, where did that come from? Whether it be, a brilliant response to someone's question, whether we just did the right thing and we felt as if something else was moving us. I'm utterly convinced that that is the life that Jesus came and lived and taught, an inspired life. In fact, it's written that he said, I've come to give you that you may have life and life more abundantly. He didn't say, I've come to give you life so once you're dead, you can have a great life. It's written that he said, I've come to, in essence, help you have an abundant life here and now, an abundance of life. But please don't believe anything I say. I'm utterly convinced what I'm saying is true, but find out for yourself. Is life all about being filled with the Spirit of God, being filled with love and life and vitality and inspiration, and then living from that place? Let's take a few more minutes. Letting ourselves be filled up. So in these two quotes I read, it's almost a contrast between what the spiritual life is, being full of life, aliveness, being full of God energy, and then not being full of that energy. And the thing I've noticed is this practice of taking in this energy, it feels really good. Yes, it requires some discipline and commitment, but it's almost like a discipline and it's like a commitment to get a massage. It's like the discipline of going and getting a massage, except in this case, it's an energy massage. It's like the discipline of going and hanging out with someone who loves you and just wants to shower you with love. I can't say I've mastered this yet. I'm definitely growing and learning. Some days I do things that are not so aligned. And interestingly enough, that's one of the words Bruno used, Einstellen. The practice, he called it Einstellen, which means many meanings, like 8 or 9 different meanings. One of them is to align. I believe that's the goal of life, to align ourselves with the force, with love, with God. Be filled with that goodness and then be guided by it. I experienced it yesterday. I was in the middle of something and I just felt, okay, it's time to wrap up. And I felt, and then I was like, no, but I'm doing it. I was like, no, it's time to wrap up. Just this calm. And as I finished it up, then right as I finished up, a friend arrived. I had an appointment. Actually, a friend was coming to pick something up. And if I hadn't finished, it would have been a little interruption to the project. Literally, like within seconds of finishing, then there was a knock at the door. I didn't do that, but I did do the practice of Einstellen, of aligning, as Bruno said, to listen deeply to God. It's not always going to be words. In fact, maybe it's mostly not words. And then be guided. And then for me, the difference between myself and someone like Jesus or Bruno is that they are guided moment by moment, that they've mastered the art of being guided by the force, the Tao, God, love. And I would say the rest of us are in school. We're here in school learning how to do that. So thank you so much for joining in for one more hope lesson in the School of Life. And I wish everyone a beautiful, beautiful day of alignment with the divine and being led by that. Thanks so much for joining in. Take care. Much love.